Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed part one, please go watch it now. There were so many cool things I didn't know about Brad and Monica that I learned. I made a lot of movies about XRP and Ripple, but I didn't know these important events. So please go look at them now. This is where Wuxian, Brad, and Monica Long talk about the XRP system. Let's get right to it. Please like this post if you like it and share it if you think other people will find it useful. What do you think are the least important or most important business use cases? You could start with a payment. I still think it's missed. This use case has been planned for almost 10 years. So I think the last year or two has finally seen all the big payment companies around the world pay attention to stablecoin purchases. Not only is the market cap going up, but so are the volumes of stablecoins, which are now around $25 trillion, 0 cents, 0 cents. Sure, it's not even close to the size of global impacts or cross-border payments yet, but we're getting there. Okay, it's clear we're on the same page with this question. We'll double click on it in a minute or two. Yes, Monica and I told each other that it would be interesting to see where we disagree as we prepared for this. I'll pick the institutional use case around identity as the one where we might not agree. I don't think blockchain based, it's important enough that I'll add some information to that sentence. Being able to use a blockchain based identity is a beautiful vision of the future. That's great. That's not too much. Then you shouldn't write that because I often, maybe just for fun, ask who owns your identity. I think it's overused as a useful tool in some situations. No, it's not me. It's not you as expected. It's interesting that the government owns your name because if you don't have a passport, birth record, or a driver's license, you're not who you say you are. I don't know how things work in other countries, but those things are needed to prove who you are. Since the government owns your name, it might not be good for us right now. But Ripple has tried to be realistic in order to build a business and make the XRP environment successful. I may have to give up my philosophical view on something, but sometimes you just have to be realistic about the world. For blockchain-based identity to really work, the government has to be involved, even though I love the idea of it. I think that will be very hard. His favorite line is, he knew this, he's lying to me, and when he poked me, I'd say, yeah, that doesn't seem impossible. In the same way that the government controls our identities, big tech does too. This is something we all have to deal with. I also think that decentralized identities and the use of the idea of attestations and venture capitalists making it safe for us to take back control of our identities has a lot of potential and upside. I agree that there will be a long wait to get all the I want it to happen signs out there. If we really want it to happen, Ripple might even invest in companies that are trying to make it happen. I think it's too hard to get governments to help make it work. It will take a very long time. It's interesting getting the government involved, but if you do well, it'll be harder to make money because the government will be in charge, leaving little room for error. If you think of it as a part of the infrastructure or something that makes it possible for institutions, what do you think? You would have to do a lot of work on permission domains and permission decks to make sure that users are following the rules when they use the decks, which is why I think you see it more as a benefit than as a business. I still think that the government should be involved, though. I think it was 6 or 7 years ago that I talked to the CEO of a very large bank, and he told me that they wouldn't accept the KYC information, even if Monica's or Pat's bank is a multi-billion-dollar or even a trillion-dollar bank. Since I'm Brad's bank, I believe that this is true. It's too risky for me to accept your KYC information if you get it wrong. If you do, I'll accept it even though I don't think the bank will. Hadn't even thought about know your customer KYC. If you have a customer and a bank, they might not accept each other's KYC if that person does business with both banks because of the risk. That's a very interesting point. Other people are looking at that answer, but hearing Brad talk about it makes it sound like Ripple isn't really interested in it right now because, well, there isn't a lot of money in it. Your ID is owned by the government. You need to carry your driver's license or passport with you whenever you move or go anywhere. It's interesting to hear those points of view. I didn't know digital IDs and how the government would likely control them because they don't make a lot of money. That's why it hasn't been a top priority for Ripple while they work on the quadrillion-dollar problem. I think this is an overrated matter of utility. It's not that the idea isn't pure and beautiful, but for some of the reasons Monica brought up, it seems really hard to me. Okay, I love that kind of conversation where we're just talking to each other. I wish I knew I needed to move on. It's just funny, and we should move on. Banks that print their own stocks are underrated, overrated, and underrated. There's a follow-up question. I'll start. Yes, I also think that is too high many. The idea of JPM coin, for example, has been around for about 6 years. I think the problem is whether Citibank, BFA, DBS, or MUFG will accept it. If JPM does this, you might also need a neutral person and some neutral players. I think Tether will continue to do well. The Think group is going to USDC will continue to do well. And I also think RLUSD is a very interesting chance. People are in a good mood. One thing that not many people know, and I've talked about this a few times in public, is that Ripple used to mint 20% of all USDC. If you ask me why you guys jumped in, I'd say because we're already minting at least the number one portion of USDC. It's not our goal to beat USDC or Tether. I think those will continue to do well and thrive. Instead, we should go after this market, especially with our business use case customers. I think more and more people are getting some of our plan behind Hidden Road and how it can really help them. This will get a lot of people to use safe coins, which will help the market grow. Think about just one similar question, not the whole thing. I said it was underrated because banks like Bank of America are just now saying they're going to make their own safe coin. And the idea has been around for a while, but banks weren't ready to act on it yet because the Genius Act didn't have enough rules for banks that wanted to make safe coins. Is moving through the Senate and was looked over again today. They will vote on it in the next 24 hours so that it can be sent to the House. If the House agrees, the president will sign it into law and U.S. coin laws will stay the same. All of these banks have been waiting for that. When I said underrated, it was because I don't think we've seen nearly as much news as I think will happen in the next 6 to 12 months. I think it will be a wall, and a lot of these banks will likely choose to work with either Ripple or Circle. Some things about Tether make me feel bad, so I don't know much about it. That means that Tether is showing that they have an audit to back them up. And Tether just said they're going to put billions of dollars into Bitcoin mining, but they can't spend $5 or $10 million on an audit. This means Tether can't be used in the EU because it's against micro rules. It's not good enough. It will be even stricter in the US since those are the two biggest markets in the world. I think Tether won't be allowed there for the next 6 to 12 months. I think banks and other financial companies will want to borrow technology from RLUSD and Circle to make stable coins, which is why I said it was underrated.